Let's see if it shows up. But yeah, um, this particular voting season, this election season is an interesting one. Is an interesting one because of you're having both parties sit there and talk with people that they normally wouldn't talk to. Um, let's see, full screen program. Nope, that's not what I want. I'm over here trying to set up my other streaming device right now. Um, but yeah, man. Let's see. I thought that I had this all together, but apparently not. So, scene two. And it's all good. We're just gonna rock with what we got right now. We're just gonna rock with what we got right now. Um, I don't like when people get on and I don't like when people I don't like when people get on and immediately start talking crazy to you because of your voting choices. Um, I don't, I think that one of the things that we should be happy about is that people are even voting, people are talking about politics. But my only gripe, well, two gripes. My only gripe, the only problem that I will have with you is if you say that you're not voting. It's the only problem I'll ever have a problem with you is if you say that you're not voting. Because if you're not voting and you're vocal in politics, then you're utilizing your voice in the wrong places. The second part is when we start talking politics and it gets disrespectful, it gets out of line. You're not allowing somebody to talk. You're not allowing somebody to express their point of view. And this is the thing when people talk about the First Amendment, the First Amendment. If you aren't going to allow the people that are next to you or around you to talk and express themselves, you are the government. You are a representation of the thing that we don't want our government doing. So even if it's something that you don't want to hear, even if it's something that you don't agree with, allowing that person the chance to be able to say it and express their views. Now, mind you, in order to express your views, you have to be a brave person because you open yourself up to critique. You open yourself up to ridicule. You open yourself up to all these things. You open yourself up to persecution. Somebody said, I already voted, but have such pre election anxiety right now, I can't function well. That's natural. That's natural. I don't think that we really should have anxiety about these particular election because at the end of the day, we gonna be all right. And I mean, we gonna be all right in the sense that if you're a person that is nimble, that remains nimble, that is always looking towards the future, always trying to identify what's next, always improving yourself, this election is just an opportunity for you. Um, Things are going to get rough if Kamala Harris is elected. Things are going to be rough if Trump gets elected. It's we're in for rough times regardless, and there's no escaping it. We're in for rough times. It just all depends on, are we in for rough times just domestically, or are we in for rough times domestically and globally? And this particular presidency will determine whether we're in rough times both globally and domestically. If Kamala Harris wins, Vice President Kamala Harris wins, then we're in trouble both domestically and globally. If Donald Trump wins, we're more in trouble domestically and won't necessarily have to worry too much about the global. There's going to be some unrest, but much of the world is going to be a little afraid of how Donald Trump is going to respond globally. It's one of the reasons why. Um, it's one of the reasons why uh, Israel is moving the way that it's moving is because they don't know what kind of support that they're going to get in the future, as a result of what presidents says. P Diddy in the house. That's crazy, man. So he is a strong leader. Um, Donald Trump, it's interesting. Um, he is a strong leader. He is a strong leader. Let's see. I'm gonna let you come up real quick. He drink the Kool Aid. What's happening? How you doing? You straight? Oh, you trying to box? You trying to box? I'm looking at it. It says it's a set match invite. You getting on the debate with me? Oh, let's see. Let's see. Let's see. Let's see what we got here. Match. All right. I don't know. You press the button. You press the button. Let me see what we got here. See, this is what happens when you go off on and you do your what's happening? Let's see what we got here. I did back out of it. I did back out of it. So yeah, let me get out of here. Um, People are talking about drinking the Kool Aid. Um, I don't know. This just kind of threw me off. We're we're headed for hard times. We're headed for hard times domestically. Donald Trump is elected president. We're headed for hard times globally and domestically with Kamala Harris running for office. Yeah, I know, right? I didn't mean to accept it. I thought it was somebody that was getting up to add some add something to the discussion. But let's see, man. Uh, I'm not excited about a Kamala Harris presidency. I'm not. I'm not even necessarily excited about a Donald Trump presidency, but I feel that you know what you're getting with Donald Trump, and you don't know what you're getting with a Kamala Harris presidency. Um, I'm really not excited about this particular election. I'm glad that people are getting involved, and this has been the first few times within the last, I don't know, maybe 16 years where people have really been activated and getting involved in elections, which is a good thing because we'll look back, our great grandchildren will look back, you know, on this day and be like, dude, why did you guys accept this? Why did you accept this mistreatment by your government? Why did you guys allow this? And in all actuality, all the problems that we're having in the world, that we're having nationally right now, is a result of us not being involved in our politics. Yeah, scary. Look at our country. Yeah, our country's definitely in some trouble right now. But it's not. It's your country isn't in trouble because your neighbor's a Republican or your neighbor's a Democrat. Our country is in trouble because we have allowed corporations to take over our politics, to take over our politicians, to buy our politicians, to control our politicians. We have allowed pharmaceutical companies to dictate what the laws are going to be when it comes to how they test medicine, how they release medicine, right? And in some ways, you want the experts writing the laws, But on the other hand, you don't want the companies whose only motivation is to make profit to now have control over your government, because they're going to put in laws in place that make it easier for them to keep profit and do everything possible to remain from losing profit. That's why your judges are so important. Your state court judges are so important because you elect those, but you don't elect the federal judges. Those are appointed. There's a lot that rides on who you pick for president, but in all actuality, the president is only following the instructions of the donors, of the major donors and the power brokers in the country of that particular party. So people would be like, oh, well, Donald Trump installed these judges. Yeah, he installed those judges, but he was told who to install. A list was given to him. He didn't go and look at each person and research each person. A list was given to that person, right? And those people, the people who are looking at being appointed, were approached by those particular um, donors or activist groups or organizations and saying, hey, we're going to put your name forward to Donald Trump or Kamala Harris to be a judge. And this is what we want you to focus on, right? This is what we need you to focus on. Unwritten Love said Project 2025. To tell you the truth, it's not just Project 2025. It's the Democratic National Agenda. It's the Republican National Agenda. Trust me, uh, with the amount of money that flows in politics, they are not worried about the 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 small people. They're not worried about the small people. What they're worried about is putting things in power, putting things in place that allows them to make more profit, and maintain power. Point blank, period. Why do you think that once you become a representative, that if you have done any level of decent networking, that you become a millionaire? Look at AOC. She started off as a waitress and is now a multimillionaire. Let me see what AOC is worth right now. Let's see. What is AOC's net worth? What's her net worth right now? Um, let's see. Let's see. No, AOC is not rich yet. Let's see. It says that her top ad, let's go to this. Alexandria Ocasio Cortez, personal finances, assets. This is Open Secrets in 2018, so that was some years ago. Let's go here. Let's go to the Federal Elections Commission and see that. Yeah, she's not rich. But let me show you something though. We'll go to the FEC.gov. FEC.gov, campaign finance data, all data, and we're going to look at Alexandria Ocasio Cortez, and let's look at how much that she has in her campaign account. AOC, currently, right now, she has, from January 1st, 2023 to November 30th, 2024, has taken in a total of $12 million of contributions. $12 million. In the last year, she spent $14 million. Interesting. So she spent 14 but only took in 2. Where did those disbursements go? Browse disbursements. See, I learned about all this when I ran for office for campaigning. That's not her money. Oh, you'd be surprised how you can utilize your campaign account. Contribution refund, merchant fees, media production services, disgorge contributions, compliance service, texting services, media production services, salary, salary, Hidalgo, salary, 4 grand. Yeah, it's just interesting. Um, you look at where they spend their money. You look at where they get their money from, and that'll tell you who they're beholden to. And that's the thing. Money gives you access. Point blank. Period. Money gives you access. Let's see what we got here. Uh, but yeah. Um, I'm just thinking. I don't like when people say the radical left. I don't like when people say the far right. Uh, I can handle radical left and I can handle far right. You know, I really don't like when we call folks fascists, when we call them Marxists, when we call them communists. Um, because to tell you the truth, that for the wealthy, it is socialism at the top and it's dog eat dog capitalism at the bottom. Meaning that the folks at the top are all working together, all working together to take government resources and take government resources and spend it on themselves. Yeah, unwritten love. If you'd like to come on up, come on up. I'm taking all guests. I'm looking forward to hearing people's thoughts. I've been thinking about this because I was live with my sister earlier today. So if you want to come on, then come on up. Hey Barb Moore, let's see. Let's bring you on up. How you doing?
Hey, good. How are you?
I'm doing quite well, quite well. Glad to have you here. What's going on? Give me your thoughts.
Yes. I guess I caught a little bit. I'm not sure how long you've been on live, but I guess talking about the the far left and the far right, I don't think they're equivalent at all. Um, and I think where we're at, we're facing kind of several different threats in our country right now.
Okay.
Um, I think one of the major things, at least internally, that I'm seeing with the MAGA party is the resemblance of the Confederacy. I'm not sure if you're familiar with their tenets, but they're eerily similar to what I've seen with MAGA. Um, but yet, I don't think people who are not really familiar with our history um, can see it themselves, who are still within that party
Yeah.
or in this new party, I would consider it. Um, and so, but I don't think people are talking about it in that way because I think it's too busy muffled with like name calling, where we're not really able to, I guess, communicate that hey, like the values that we're seeing pop up from this new party is very familiar, and we've seen this before. Um, and so I've been on like I guess a couple lives today talking about that, and then like with MAGA themselves, and it was just so interesting how um, it was almost shocking. It was just like I literally asked like all of the six tenets that the Confederacy has. I asked them about them, and they before saying that these were the values of the Confederacy, and they were like, "Yep, yep, yep, yep," and I'm like, "Wow," and that was just like very telling. But you're seeing people who just don't have the frustrations in our nation. The border and people being, afraid of the unknown of those who come into our nation, wanting to secure that. Um, the economy isn't, in the best condition in comparison to different, past or recent years. So it's like, there's just different frustrations that are valid, but then you have this group of people who is almost like puppeteering at this point, um, internally, and then they're saying, "Oh, okay, come to this side. We will nurture these pains that you have," and um, and so they're going to where they feel like they're being heard. Um, and it's like it's just unfortunate because I'm like the left, no, by no means is, as I would say, as dangerous in a sense of, being able to like institute what we're seeing with this new party, but they're not tackling it in a way that is, the messaging is very clear on what it is. Um, and so to me, I'm like, that's just unfortunate. But I just feel like, these conversations need to be had.
I appreciate that. Can you inform my audience on what the six tenets of the Confederacy were?
Yes. So first tenet is states' rights. They believe that states should have autonomy to make the most of their decisions without interference from federal government. Within MAGA, they have communicated that states' rights is a very big aspect, that they are pretty much anti-government at this point. That was a very big factor within the Confederacy. And then with Trump, he's the first president that we've seen, within recent history to overturn something federally to give it back to the states with the Roe versus Wade. And so that was very much so like a major dog whistle of like, I am on your side, and you can trust me that if I can get this done, turn something back over to the states, what other rights will be turned back over to the states?
Yeah.
Are we turning back slavery to the states? Because that's what's federally protected, and that's immediately is the second tenet, is slavery, the belief that the institution of slavery should be preserved. Um, and now MAGA, of course, at this point, because majority, I wouldn't say majority of MAGA is like full blown, like I'm down with that, and that's a very much so a buzz, not a buzzword, but it's an alarm, right? Like everyone, you say you're for slavery, everybody, like, absolutely not, right? But it's something that it is almost like a last thing. It's like it's never something. It's right now we're getting, getting appetizers. You're getting this. You're getting that. It's not at all the um the first thing that anyone's going to come out with. Is something you have to be nurtured into, and we're seeing the nurturing. So that's the second tenet, slavery. The third tenet is white supremacy, the belief that all men are not created equal, and that pretty much our nation is a white nation first and foremost, and that white men should be in power, um, and stay in power. And we're seeing that with the split between, it's just so like it's almost like a movie of just like you literally have the opposite of this, right? Literally the white man and the black woman. Like it's like how could you? It's just such the literally the opposite of the total pole, and such a like the dichotomy between the two is just like written out of a book. The fourth one is Southern identity. Um, Now I would equate this one more to just like American identity, um, where there's this rhetoric around this is how our country is supposed to be. This is what we should look like, And so with the rise of immigrants and the threat of immigrants, they just do not fit within the identity of America. And then patriotism is the fifth one. Um, and of course, this is something that I think is very self-evident, that MAGA is very patriotic, and they even go as far as to say you're not patriotic if you are a Democrat. And we've seen that. We haven't pushed back on that narrative, but we do see that patriotism is something that is very, very much so embedded within MAGA. And then the last one, which I think is last for me is detrimental. But like the last one is religion and the belief that the fate of the nation was bound to the will of God. Like that's verbatim. Um, so basically, they believe that this nation is a Christian nation and that there should be pretty much no separation between um, separation of church and state, and that we, pretty much any of the religious beliefs or the Christian beliefs should be embedded within our government. And so that's why I think I typed in a thing like Heritage 2025. Like that to me is the embodiment of that particular pillar.
Yeah.
And I agree with you. I don't think it's just Heritage 2025. It's a variety of tenets, if you are tentacles that are happening. But I think they all come together to form this new Confederacy Party. And this is something that since Civil War that we have continuously fought against the progression of this party ever rising again. And this is when people are like, wow, we are in such a contentious time. And it's like our history is contentious. This is just new for us.
Mm-hmm.
This war has been fought before.
Mm-hmm.
It's just new for us.
Yeah.
So but what's unfortunate is that I feel like then they knew this was an issue. They knew that, hey, this is something we don't want to do, and they fought for it. But today it's almost like it's cloudy where people don't know what is actually the right side. And there's just so much confusion that people aren't able to kind of see through all of um, the smoke and mirrors and see like, hey, it's not even about like the left or like I mean I guess like those political um, affiliations. It's really more so about I think we're on the verge of that same, not necessarily the same war, but that same threat that we do have kind of two different directions or um, two different desires for how we want our country to be, and it's kind of like which side are you on in a sense, and that's I think where we're at. And what people are experiencing, but not really able to like vocalize because the division isn't as clear. And so I'm like the whole like the the LGBTQ people and like like all of these are kind of like smoke and mirrors in my sense. Like they're really, I get it, and you can converse on that, but I just feel like that's almost like a distraction. And I feel like this little cliche, but it's really a distraction issues, and especially for the base that is supporting that. Um, the MAGA being a part of some of our poorer states in our nation, and they have not gotten their support from their representatives, and so it's like to be complaining about like immigrants or whatever when y'all suffering from like pill over D's, like it's just so many issues that are very core to these particular parts of the country that it's like how can you let issues, but it's like how can you let someone convince you that your main issues aren't your main issues and you actually should be worried about this over here. You have people talking about things in California, things in New York, and it's like you live in Wisconsin, like where, and that's the part that's very odd. But I think it's all kind of like I said, working together. But yeah, long story short, those are all the tenants, the six tenants.
I appreciate you for sharing that with us. Um, I I I want to give you another chance to even kind of. I have a question for you. What direction do you want to see the country go?
I want to see it go in the direction where we are prioritizing what is best in terms of everyone has their kind of like their basic human rights. We don't have the restrictions on people to be able to navigate this country however they need to. Um, and with that, I think any legislation around people needs to be off of the books. Like we don't need to be legislation on people. I just feel like that's very archaic. So one, that's off the books. I think we need to definitely keep religion separate. Everyone to be able to practice their own freedom of religion. Um, I think we need to prioritize our education system. I really want to see major investments in our education. it as much as we can. Like, we have so many different cultures, we have so many different backgrounds, so many different industries, but they're very disjointed. And so with this is like, you see so many people, like with Kamala Harris, one being when like her, she go to like black rallies or whatever, and she'll like, bring out her accent, her black accent or whatever. And then you hear like political commentators like, oh, like she's pretending, she's pandering. And it's like, that's code switching. Like, we know what code switching is. But they're not familiar with code switching because that's not a part of their culture. But yet here we are in the same country for the same amount of years, and yet there's so many different things about each of our communities that we just don't have that level of exposure. So I would love to see more efforts of being able to connect people in different communities, and like invest in that. Like, how can we continue to get people exposure to the broad diversity that is within our nation, because that also helps people be like, okay, I was on this one panel, and they were talking about tea people, and I'm like, have all of these things that they're saying, they're like, oh, they can't join the military because they're gonna freak out if somebody calls them the wrong pronoun. And it's just like, there are T people in the military. You know what I mean? Like, so it's like, have you talked to any T people? Have you ever been exposed to any? And it's like, no. But yet you have curiosity, obviously, and this built up animosity. It's like, well, bring forth those, not necessarily just those conversations, but the exposure and being able to teach. And that's the same thing that we did with, through integration, if you will. So, so I just want to, I just feel like we have a lot of power here in our country that we're not really tapping into. So yeah, I guess those are kind of the things to answer your question.
I appreciate that. Um, the to give everyone kind of an introduction to who I am. Um, I ran for U.S. Senate in the 2020 elections in the state of Louisiana as an independent. I taught political science at Southern University Shreveport. I have consulted Donald Trump, Kanye West. Who else? Um, I was with President Biden in Hiroshima, Japan during the G7 conference. I have consulted for congressional campaigns like Gary Chambers. Like 70% of his criminal justice reform platform I developed. Um, so just kind of give people some background into me. When I look at MAGA, when I look at our political situation right now, I see three parties. I see the Democrat, I see the Republicans, and I see MAGA. Right? I see those three, and MAGA has been the only one that has shown that it's willing to put foot to behind over what they actually believe in. The Republicans will utilize the rules in any way, shape, form, or fashion to gain power, and then and are unapologetic about how they utilize power. The Democrats will build a wide coalition, and will cater to the fringes, all while ignoring their major base. So when I think about catering to the fringes, I'm thinking about the LGBT community. I'm thinking about the immigrant community, and I think that the critique that Americans like myself have are, how is it that a the least vocal, right? The least vocal, which would be the immigrant community, is getting all, or the illegal immigrant community, the least vocal, the illegal immigrant community is getting all these resources when we have our own problems here in the United States that citizens who pay their tax dollars don't even have access to, right? That's one. Then when you see something like the LGBT community that only represent a small percentage of our population, how that conversation is dominating the dominating the culture. And okay, you're dominating the culture. The problem is now when you start talking about resources and how resources are allocated, you mean to tell me that as a parent that I don't have a problem with gay people, but I don't want that being part of the curriculum in school? right? That is my right as a parent to have to one feel that way, and I have a vote in order to be able to exercise my will and what I believe is true and what I believe should be pushed, right? That is the beauty of of the First Amendment. That is the beauty of voting, is that uh, even if you have a viewpoint that other people don't agree with, that you're given the right to be able to express that viewpoint. So,
Mm-hmm.
um, when I look at MAGA, right? I look at, okay, your strategy is your tenets and what you believe in are clear. States' rights, okay. Um, states' rights, absolutely right. You're going to put some of that control back into the states, and the only reason why people are afraid of that is because they know that Democrats are lazy voters. If Go ahead.
I don't know if they're lazy voters, but they may not necessarily be the most dominant in certain states. And so I don't think rights should be limited to your like a vote. Like I shouldn't be able to vote away your right, right? Like we should just have certain protections that are available to all people, not based off of my opinion because I don't really like what you do or don't do. It's like we should have just almost like a foundation of rights that are just untouched and at the federal level and available to all people.
Let me ask you a question. Do you feel that same way about the Second Amendment?
It's already there. It's already a second. Its Second Amendment is already there.
Well, the challenge is how it's interpreted, correct?
Well, I mean, are you saying that you don't think that the Second Amendment is protected?
No, I feel that it's I feel that it's being abridged. I don't feel like the Second Amendment is protected. I'll give you
You
an
don't feel like it's protected.
I'll give you an example. I'll give you an example. The same way how this same argument about how you're saying with states' rights, right? States'
Mm-hmm.
rights. California has one of the most strictest gun laws in the nation compared to Louisiana, right?
Mm-hmm.
So California's interpretation of the Second Amendment is different than Louisiana's interpretation of the Second Amendment, right?
Mm-hmm.
The same thing comes with when we talk, and now the Second Amendment is a right that is enshrined in the Constitution. Abortion is not, right?
Right.
Abortion is it comes out of what is it? Come out the 14th Amendment?
I forget which one it was. It was for privacy.
Privacy, then that's the Fourth Amendment,
What
right?
was that for?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. The right for a person to be secure in their persons, places, and things.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Right. So that derives out of the Fourth Amendment.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yep. Yep.
you're seeing how an application of the law is different according to each state, right? The challenge
Yep.
was the challenge was that there was a federal you had a federal right to abortion. You
Correct.
see that? And now
Mm-hmm.
that is no longer a federal right, even though some states can enshrine it in their constitution. I would say that you as a person, you have much more sway in your state than you have federally.
Yeah, but we want certain things to be available to all people. That's the thing. So that's where the federal comes in because we understand that the federal is to work for the states. So
Is
we
it?
want certain rights.
Is
Yeah,
it?
absolutely.
Is
That's
it?
what the federal is established,
That
is to
was.
work on behalf of the states.
It wasn't developed to work on behalf of the states.
That's my understanding that the federal government was established to work on behalf of the states. That's why we needed a code. Like we literally needed something that would unite all of the states
We
to
needed
make those general decisions that would be across
we
all
needed
states.
so not to work for the states, but we needed two levels of government. We needed, because each state is sovereign. Each state is
Mm-hmm.
sovereign,
Exactly.
and we needed a way of controlling things that were not reserved to the states,
Correct.
right?
Correct.
So the technically the federal government resides in District of Columbia and in the various territories. So when it comes to how we deal internationally, you have to deal with the federal government. But how you deal state to state is dealing with individual states. Now I'm with you in the sense that there were certain rights that we wanted to make available to all.
Yeah.
The challenge is how the law was interpreted. The same way that in Dred Scott in the Dred Scott case that it said that black people have no rights that a white man has to respect. Right? That was law. And then as a result, we end up getting the 14th Amendment and saying that I have equal protection under the laws. Um, at the end of the day, all of this has to do with resources. It has nothing to do with morality. It has everything to do with resources. It is marketed to us as moral issues, when in all actuality, it has to do with resources. If I make abortion illegal, then that means that the funding that normally would go to abortion now has to find a new place in order to go.
Well, I mean, lives are on the line,
I
right? I mean, I wouldn't consider it moral necessarily, as it is. Um, just we want to be able to protect people's rights. I wouldn't consider it a moral
I
right, as it is. If this is something that would literally unalive people, and we can prevent that, I think we should always opt to do that.
What's the number? What's the percentage of women that have to have abortions in order to save their lives?
It's very small, but it's enough.
Okay, all right. What's the percentage of abortions that are happening as a result of people having rape of being raped or incest?
Around 2%, but
Right.
it's enough.
Right. So the rest of so many of I would hazard to say that 90% of the abortions that happen are a result of irresponsible sexual behavior.
Well, no. Are you factoring in married women?
Same.
You
Same.
consider married women irresponsible?
If you're not using protection and you don't want to have kids.
But I mean, at the end of the day, that's a violation on a woman's body to carry a foreign entity that against her will,
Okay, let me ask you this
right?
question. Let me ask you this question. Is the fetus or the zygote, is it a person or is it property?
A person, human life, start to conception, all of that.
So we're saying that it's okay to kill a human, to kill a person that's inside of the womb, but it's not okay to kill a person that's outside of the womb.
So are you against self defense?
Am I against self defense?
Yeah.
No, I'm not against self defense.
So if someone comes into your house without your permission, do you think you have a right to take their life?
Absolutely.
So if a woman body is violated and a foreign entity enters her, does she have a right to take that life?
I didn't say anything about I wasn't addressing the part about rape. I said all the ones that weren't rape or incest or for the life of the mother.
Yeah, but you said it's okay to take a life, and I'm just saying, is it not okay in that situation to take a life?
Uh, is it okay? Is it not okay to take a life?
You say you were okay with self defense,
That's
and I'm saying,
is that
is you
let me
okay?
actually
You're okay with
let me
sorry.
is that self defense though? That's not self
It
defense.
absolutely is. It's
How
100% self
how
defense.
is it self defense?
Because
Help me
if it's a
understand.
how is it different? How is it different?
You haven't explained to me how it's self defense.
So it's self defense because in the same concept or in the same scenario where a foreign entity, in this instance
One
being rape,
person, right?
comes in, a
One.
person comes into your house, your domain, right?
Yep.
And you have the ability and the right to say, hey, I don't want you here, so I'm going to remove you, right?
Yep.
So you can put one finger down, right? Yep, that person's removed. So in the same instance, if a woman's body is violated and a foreign entity comes into her body, which is her domain, she has due
I'm gonna say that that's not that those the self defense example that you use and that are not the same.
It's the 100% the
You
same.
want to know why it's not the same?
Go ahead.
The reason why it's not the same is because you said that it's a part that it's a person, right?
Yeah, it is a person.
That it starts as at conception. Was that
Yeah,
the is the fetus or the zygote that's there? Were they the one that committed the crime? Were they the one that committed that act?
yeah, they're in a domain that's not theirs.
That's so they're in a domain. So they're in a domain that is
So I mean,
that's not.
yeah, literally, they're in a domain that is not
So
theirs.
wait,
They are residing in something that is
ha,
not theirs,
pa,
right?
I'm gonna pause you. I'm gonna pause you. So
Yeah,
you're telling me that there wasn't an egg already there, correct?
the egg was there.
All
Yes,
right, the egg was there. So the only thing that was foreign was the sperm, correct?
yes,
Okay.
indeed.
So when the sperm fertilizes the egg,
It creates a new person.
it creates a new
Yes.
person, right? Who does that
Mm-hmm.
who does that new person belong to?
Do you think children are property?
We haven't decided whether or not a zygote or a fetus is a person or a property according to our law.
If you think that they're property, well, then you can dispose of your property.
No, you can't.
You can dispose of your property.
Well, I'm gonna show you. I'm gonna show you. The thing is we've allowed women to be able to dispose and it's not their property. It's co-created property. That's the
So
thing.
you think, yeah, that's what I'm saying. So if it's co-created property, then it's their property. No.
It's two people's property, right? It's two people's property,
Right.
not just her property,
Right.
right?
Right. So if
So
it's co-property, you can do what you want with your property.
I can't. But that's the thing is you violate my rights as a father. And once again, I'm not talking about rape. I'm not talking about incest. I'm talking about two consensual adults that sat down, had sex, and now there's conception, right? Now, if you get rid of that fetus or that zygote, you're now getting rid of co-created property. I, as a father, have no say in that,
Yeah.
right? I have no say in what happens to my
But
co-created
most
property.
fathers do though.
No, they don't.
Some people they
No, no.
most men pay for the abortion, sir.
I don't have a choice in whether or not a woman carries the baby or if
But you're talking about abortion. You're talking about ABs, right? Like most men pay for the abortion.
I,
Like most men don't necessarily want
I
that.
I'm not. Once again, if I as a if I'm with a woman and she gets pregnant and I don't want her to have an abortion, I don't have any control over that.
Right, because it's her what domain.
It's it's co-created property that's inside. That's like if
But it's
you
my
ho,
it's
ho,
domain. If you're
hold on,
considering children property,
hold on,
that's what I'm saying. Like
hold
if we
on,
go on the
hold
property
on,
argument,
hold on, hold
you
on,
can dispose of your
hold on,
property.
hold on, hold on, hold on, hold on, hold on.
Yeah. Okay.
It's your house. It's your house, but it's something that
Yes.
me and you created or me and you bought, and that now all of a sudden because it's in your house that gives you the right to destroy it.
Put it outside, not destroy it.
That's
Put it outside.
but that's my point. When the abortion
You can
happens,
put it. Yes, you
what,
can take it
hold,
outside,
hold on.
out of the domain.
When an abortion happens, it is not taking it
Yeah.
outside. It is killing it. That's the
It
problem.
is. It's taken outside. It's
It is
the
destroying
issue
it.
is location though,
It
right?
is destroying.
Like the issue is location.
It's destroying it. I can't use it. I can't enjoy
Well, I
it.
guess sue women for destroying property then.
I
I'm okay with that.
that's my point. That's my point.
I would
So
be okay if we're considering children. If we're no longer considering children people, which is wild, you know. But if you're saying that the fetus is not life and it's not a human, but you're considering it a property, then I think hey, if we're gonna go property, I'm okay with as long as women have the ability to have access to their health care. I'm okay with whatever transpires in that sense.
it
Sure, if we want to then say, okay, well, fetuses are now classified as property,
you
and as women dispose of the fetus,
you're you, you,
I guess the father in that scenario
let me
has the ability to claim
let me
damaged goods. You know,
let me ask you a question. Let me ask you a
okay,
question.
compromise. Yeah.
Have we determined that a fetus or a zygote in our current legal structure right now, have we determined whether or not it is a person or property?
Have we determined person or
A
property?
fetus or zygote is a personal property.
Well, I mean, looking at these AB laws, I would say a person.
Which what AB laws? What are AB laws?
These different states, if they banned, 13 states of 13 or 14 now, I think, have literally outright banned AB, and it's for that very argument that this is human life and it should be preserved.
Okay.
So I would consider that it just because of it's being banned. I don't think people are banning it because it's a property, but I think people are arguing that it isn't property actually.
What I'm saying what I'm saying is we have not they have the they have outlawed abortion on the basis that they believe that that life starts at conception, which is okay.
Right.
That has
Of
not
course.
well, that has not been coded the number of states that have passed abortion laws have not may not have codified that life begins at conception.
You sure about that?
Give me the states.
I'll give you the states.
Give me the states. So in the states that have said that life begins at conception, then the other states are not saying that life begins at conception. So therefore, if you have this, you either a person or your property. The same way that your dog can't be considered a person because they are considered property. And
Yes.
as
So within Alabama, I do remember that because if you remember Alabama, because they were widely noted in the news, where they did say that they said that conception did start at life, right?
life began at
And
conception,
because yes, conception started. Sorry, conception. Life started at conception. So because of that, what started? Sorry, conception. Life started. So because of that, what happened is to IVF. IVF was impacted because of the embryos that IVF, uses to be able to help women get pregnant.
right?
And so they had to shut down their IVF clinics because of that very statement that life begins at conception.
Right.
And so I think a couple of days after they, went like, oh snap, we don't want to impact IVF, even though when you say life begins at conception, you are automatically against IVF, and a good portion of families are started through IVF. And so they, Trump came out and he villainized it. Everyone, it was a hiccup in their in that era for them. But yeah, no, I necessarily say I want to say like personhood is something, or life at conception is definitely something that's consistent with the abortion bans that we're seeing, and they may get around to not necessarily saying life at conception at this point because they do understand how that impacts IVF. So I can see them getting around, putting that language in there. But I do think the fact that they're considering the fetus a person is probably a better argument than property
You
at this point.
you've missed what I'm saying, and is that right? The reason why I bring up the property argument is because the property argument says is that this is co-created property, right? And being that it's co-created property, you do not have the right as one of the co-creators to destroy that property where I'm not able to enjoy it, right? The other person. Why? Because it was co-created. So you're even though it's co-created property, you have all the power and all the rights to destroy of it and dispose of it as you please, violating my property rights, right? Because
Right. And that's okay. I
right,
don't disagree with that. That's what I'm saying. I feel like if we want to go that route, then if we want to make it to where you can sue women for violating your property rights, I'm not opposed to that. Like
most
I
deaf.
feel like that will, as long as women are able to have their ability to get access to the healthcare that they need at any given time, if that is to then be like, well,
Do you
it's
consider that
co-created
healthcare?
property.
Do you
Oh,
consider
absolutely.
do you
A
consider
hundred percent.
why do you consider it
A
healthcare?
hundred percent. One,
And I'm once again
because
I'm talking about outside of rape, incest, and
yeah, yeah, yeah. No,
and
so like so for instance, if a fetus is uh announced not alive or suspected to not be alive, right? And removing that fetus from the body is an ending of pregnancy. That is a form of abortion, AB.
okay.
And if you don't do that, women can develop sepsis and pass away very quickly.
Are you talking about ectopic pregnancy?
Yes, 100%.
Mm-hmm.
That's one. And then two, miscarriages are actually also abortion. They're called spontaneous abortion, right? And so
Now
women
is that
don't see.
is that medically induced, or is that you having a miscarriage?
No, that's naturally
That's
induced. Actually,
so
yeah, that's our body.
I don't
So
consider
that's what I'm saying. But
I
that's the thing.
I don't consider miscarriages.
It's an abortion.
I don't consider
Listen, it
miscarriage.
is.
I don't
It's
consider.
medically considered.
All right, let
It's
me.
not what you consider. It's what it medically is. An
Okay,
abortion.
all right.
It's medically termed a spontaneous abortion.
Is a miscarriage a medical procedure?
It is something your body naturally does. It is not a medical
Is a
procedure.
miscarriage a medical procedure?
It is not a medical
Okay.
procedure.
All
It is
right.
something your body naturally
So
does. Right?
I'm talking about the medical procedure
So
that ends
because
at
of a,
that ends in.
I'm telling you why.
Wait,
Right?
hold on. Do you feel like I've talked over you?
No. Do you feel
Okay.
like I'll talk over
All
you?
right. I do feel like you're talking over me right now.
Okay.
Am I believe that you're worthy of respect? Am I worthy of the same respect?
I think we're mutually worthy of the same respect.
Okay. Do you have a problem displaying that to me right now?
I don't feel like I'm not displaying it.
Okay.
But
I'm
if you feel like I am, then you know
I
I
pr-
don't want to. I don't want you to feel that way. So you can
I
continue.
appreciate you considering that. I appreciate you considering that. I'm talking about medical procedures that end pregnancy, right? That end pregnancy. Okay, if I will concede that a miscarriage is considered an abortion, so that we both are utilizing the same that we're talking apples to apples. When I talk about abortions, I'm talking about medical procedures that end pregnancy. Is that would that be an agreeable um, would that be an agreeable concession to you?
No, I understand your, I
Okay.
guess, your concession there, but I don't think you're factoring in why I stated the medical abortion, because I was naming the reasons why I'm for AB, right? And so I named ectopic pregnancy, and I also named miscarriages. So I'm not saying miscarriages to basically talk about another type of abortion. I'm naming it as to when a woman experiences this, they then need to have a medical procedure to remove of that fetus.
Okay. All right. I
So
so
that's what it's the why,
so
not
the
the. Mm-hmm.
so the pregnancy was already ended as a result of miscarriage, and now there's a medical procedure to remove any of that.
Exactly.
Right? Okay. Cool.
Exactly.
Cool. I'm not talking about those particular cases.
You asked me if they were healthcare, and
Nah,
this is why I'm telling you why it is.
cool. Cool. So you're saying, are you saying that women would not be able to have procedures if they had miscarriages if there was an abortion ban?
That's exactly what happened to a black woman recently. And so, yes, this is healthcare. And there's other instances to where it's not just women being irresponsible, but this is literally dealing with our wombs and our reproductive system. This is our body. And we are legislating it as if it's just something that is like paperwork. Where no, we're dealing with human lives here, that these are medical procedures that women need at the end of the day. Now, most people only focus on, yeah, well, just be responsible. But at the end of the day, like, this is a healthcare procedure. And we would not, I don't see what any other procedure we would ever legislate to prevent people from getting that is literally life or death in a sense for their lives. So I, so yeah, for death in a sense for their lives.
Hmm. Hmm. Okay. Um, I would like if you can send me some more resources about the fact that if a woman has a miscarriage, in those states where abortion is banned, that she would not be able to receive um, the medical procedure that would help uh, that would help with her health. I think that would be very helpful.
Jamar, why do you want me to do research for you? You are you're very smart. Like, why do you want me to send you something?
Because I would much rather the information come from the advocate. Then that
I
way,
would rather you invest in getting to know this information if you're going to pick a side.
what better way what better way to get it to get the research than to be pointed in the right direction by somebody that's an advocate.
I told you the area that you want to look at. Look up how women are impacted by miscarriages and how that relates to ABs.
I'm ask
I
I,
think if you're actually interested, you
I'm
would explore this.
I have explored it. I have explored it, but there's a lot of knowledge out there. So if you're not willing to do that, that's okay. That's fine. That's not a problem. That's it. That's not a problem at all.
Okay.
Do you have any final thoughts?
No, I feel like we talked about a lot of things. So, hopefully it was productive and I guess your audience took things out of it. But, I guess I leave off where it's like, with everything that's going on, I do implore people to research, and I know it's a lot of information to be able to absorb, but I think it's very critical at this point in time. Um, so yeah, I guess that's my final thoughts.
Well,
How about you?
thank you, thank you. Well, it's my show, so I get to have my thoughts whenever I
Okay.
want.
True.
So thank you. I appreciate you for coming on.
Yeah, I appreciate that too. Thanks, bye.
All right, bye. Well, there we have it. We have some research points for us. Um, I'm gonna look that up because it is. I've definitely heard the women's health issue. Definitely understand that. Um, I also think that that the black maternal health crisis is something that we have not taken as seriously as we really should have. Um, and I think that by taking care of the black maternal health crisis, that would reduce the number of miscarriages that our women have, the reduce the number of ectopic pregnancies that black women have. So I think by addressing the actual root causes of those things, such as medical neglect, medical malpractice, medical racism, medical apartheid, by getting rid of those things, that will actually have a real impact that will change lives. I thank everybody for joining in on this discussion. Iwana said, "Do not do that research for him. He knows already." Okay, well that's interesting. Um, Miss Ann said, "I have experienced both, and they are not the same." Mr. Ed to you said it already happened. Ergo Love said it's not healthcare. Um, yeah, Ms. Ann said exactly natural. Uh, Shannon for Bama, the pregnancy was already ended when the heart was no longer beating. The case had nothing to do with abortion. It was about a clinic employee destroyed embryos. Thank you for that. See, I couldn't see y'all. I couldn't see the comments. Shannon for Bama said there's way more to that issue. They did not shut down any clinics. Well, thank you for that updated information. No, none new said ectopic pregnancies usually are created by STDs, but no one wants to admit it. Ooh, dropping bombs on that. But you know what? Once again, this is a platform. This is a channel where I want people to learn, and I'm interested in learning and having a better understanding of the issues, because it's one thing to just talk, it's another thing to come with facts, to come with research, and also your own lived experience. But when you come with your own lived experience, you have to have be open for it to be challenged. And as you guys saw, hey, I'm willing to listen, and I genuinely want to learn. So I just think it's a disservice that people do a disservice of when they're not willing to share particular information, or when they think that somebody else should know. If you're the expert, you should be willing to share that information, and especially when somebody that is an academic, that is an expert in other areas, is trying to learn. So I'm thankful for everybody that tuned in. Thank you for Unknown Love for showing up. And once again, my job is to create more informed and involved citizens. It's Dr. Jamar Montgomery of drjamarmontgomery.com. I love you. Jesus loves you. If you do not have a relationship with Jesus Christ, I encourage you to go and get one. Y'all take care and be blessed.